disciples leading him, and he just does the rest. He's got crazy flipper fingers, never seen him fall. That deaf, dumb, and blind kid sure plays a mean pinball.
And that was The Who with Pinball Wizard. Brilliant track, that. One of my favourites of all time.
It is, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the next track's actually linked to The Who as well. In that... Now, I'm going to tell you something now, Simon. It might blow your mind, this. Yeah. You know, Pete Townsend has never had a number one single with The Who. You know that?
Has he not?
No, they've had one number one album.
Yeah.
Well, he was also behind this next group, and this is the only number one that Pete Townsend has ever played on.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, Pete Townsend played bass on this, and the group was called Thunderclap Newman. And they were basically made up. The drummer was a guy called Speedy Keane.
Yeah.
And Andy Newman on keyboards. I think they had some Scottish guy, I can't remember his name for the top of my head, on guitar. Well, Pete Townsend decided to play bass, and he didn't use his name on it, so no one knew Townsend played on this track.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was released in July. I think it was number one in July of 1969, and I think it was number one for about 3 weeks. And it's an absolute storming song. This, it really is a classic, and it's still used on commercials and in films. So it's a very, very popular song. And I'd like to dedicate this to a couple of lads who go in the Red Lion. To Dave and Tony Gorton. Now, yeah. Dave tells me this is his favourite song of all time. So, Dave, this one's for you, mate. It's Thunderclap Newman and Something in the Air.
Print in the Air.
Thunderclap Newman.
Great one, that, isn't it?
It's a song that's never lost its vitality over the years, I suppose.
Vitality. That's a good word, that, tonight, Noddy, for a Friday evening.
Yeah. Well, we're going on now to a bit of blues music. 69 was a groundbreaking year for blues music, and nobody encapsulated this more than the original Fleetwood Mac, not the
Stevie Nicks and
Stevie
all
Nicks
that.
and Buckingham. No, it's not. This is the true Fleetwood Mac, led by Peter Green. Now, Peter Green is one of the greatest blues guitarists who's ever drew breath.
Yeah.
And Fleetwood Mac had the luxury of having Peter Green, Jeremy Spencer, and Danny Kirwan, three of the greatest blues guitarists of all time, and all of them play on this. Sorry, two of them play on this track. Jeremy Spencer, I think he plays piano on this.
Yeah.
But you've got two great guitarists going for it on this track. The song's called "Oh Well," and I think this got to number 2 later on in the year.
Is there a part 2 of this as well?
There's parts 1 and 2. It goes on for about 9 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But we're just playing the shortened version.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just pure blues music, and it might bore a few people.
And we don't want to bore anyone.
But this is a great track. I'd like to dedicate this and the Beatles track later on to Paul Boyle. Paul loves Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
And Paul, this is for you. This is Fleetwood Mac, "Oh Well."
About the shape I'm in, I can't sing, I ain't pretty, and my legs are thin. But don't ask me what I think of you, I might not give the answer that you want me to. Now when I talked to God, I knew he'd understand. He said, stick by me and I'll be your guiding hand. But don't ask me what I think of you, I might not give the answer that you want me to.
Fleetwood Mac with "Oh Well."
Yeah, like I said, it's the original Fleetwood Mac, and they were obviously 69. They just went from strength to strength, but by the end of 1970, Peter Green experimented with some hallucinogenic drugs.
LSD.
Yeah, and he was never the same. It took him about 25 years to come off his trip.
We don't condone drugs on this station, and if you've got any, just get in touch with us.
Well, Peter Green actually now I think they played a few gigs with John McVie and Mick Fleetwood, so he's back again. So that's good news.
Yeah, he's probably worn off a bit now.
I should hope so. Yeah, he was some trip he had.
I tell you what, I bet he was strong in them days.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, apparently it was in Munich he did this. He went into this club and come out. He was never the same.
Yeah.
You know, the rest of the band went to America, and obviously the new Fleetwood Mac was born there. Anyway, we're going on to
Beatles.
well, 69.
Can you say about the Beatles?
Well, it was a sad year. I mean,
It was for the Beatles, wasn't it?
they split up in '69. Officially, it was '70, but they actually split up in August of 1969. But we're going back to January of 1969 during the recording of the Let It Be album, and this was a very unhappy time because Paul now was basically running the show, and he was the ultimate perfectionist, and he was really clashing with George. Really was, and it was a very, very unhappy atmosphere because all this was filmed. They made a feature film about this. The only happy occasion about Let It Be was when on the January the 30th, they went on the rooftops of Apple
Studios, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, Apple headquarters in Savile Row, and they did an impromptu gig, and they played 5 tracks. Get Back was one of them. One After 909. I Got a Feeling, Dig a Pony, and this track, which John wrote, and John by this time was completely and utterly obsessed with Yoko Ono, and he wrote this about his love for Yoko Ono. Now, while they were on there, they were joined by an American rhythm and blues keyboard player called Billy Preston, and Billy plays keyboards on this track and on Get Back. So this is, I think it's a great song. It's one of John's finest songs. John said this is the greatest love song he ever wrote.
Yeah.
He dedicated it to Yoko. But again, this one's for Paul Boyle and Phil Blanchard at the Nappy Factory. This is the Beatles live on top of the Apple headquarters at Savile Row, January the 30th, 1969. Don't Let Me Down.
Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Nobody ever loved me like she does. Ooh, she does. Yes, she does. And if somebody loved me like she does, oh, she does. Yes, she does. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. I'm in love for the first time. Don't you know it's gonna last? It's a love that lasts forever. It's a love that has no past. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. And from the first time that she really done me, ooh, she done me good. I guess nobody ever really done me. Ooh, she done me good.